What up? Wade here. Welcome back to the Wade Alter Show. So today I got another very special guest, a good friend. Her name is Karla Singson. And she is my secret weapon with clients, with friends in my own business. Whenever I see somebody hitting a certain sort of plateau or hitting a certain sort of point where they're like, I just want to really hit the next level, what it comes down to a lot of times is you need leverage. And that a lot of times means you need another employee or your first employee. And so that leads to a lot of scary things bubbling up. But what Karla does is she's actually from the Philippines. She has 4 or 5 different businesses, very successful entrepreneur. One of those businesses is actually a sort of VA headhunting firm to where she specifically works with entrepreneurs, breaks everything down. Okay, let's talk about your business, and then goes out. And because she lives in the Philippines, she used to be a VA before she became a very successful entrepreneur. She then connects people in a very sort of matchmaker style, does the onboarding, does everything. And so I've used her services to get my first VA who's been just absolutely amazing and unlocked a whole new level within the business. And what always happens as a coach, you kind of get biased. So I'm like, everyone needs a VA. And so I've had probably over 6 or 7 clients of mine now use her services, and she's been a 10 out of 10 success. And so what I wanted to do, really what this interview is me breaking down, okay, how could I leverage my VA more? And in the process, you know, like I said, selfishly for myself, I had her here. So I'm like, okay, let's dive into all the details. And you're going to get a peer inside that conversation, as well as find a lot of great tips for yourself. If you either have a VA already or you have employees, how to create some systems, how to delegate more effectively, and ultimately take your business to the next level. So sit back, relax, and as always, enjoy. All right, so we got Karla here. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Wade. It's nice to see you as always.
Yeah, so I didn't say this beforehand, but you are actually the first woman on the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, breaking glass ceilings. That's what I do best.
Nice. I guess to start, could you kind of just give, I mean, if you want to go in the full sort of your entrepreneurial career, but especially too kind of with the VA stuff specifically, I guess just to give people an idea where you're coming from.
Right. So I started my first venture towards entrepreneurship, serious entrepreneurship. When I was 19, I graduated early because I was always advanced. I entered college at 15 and finished at 19. And I thought that I was above my peers. I won debate championships. I had a lot of public speaking awards, and I was a writer. And I was like, I can find a job. You know, everyone will be happy to hire me. And then I realized late that nobody wants to hire a teenager because I was intellectually arrogant and resistant to authority. So I had forced myself to be a freelancer. And then so I became a freelance writer. And then I discovered that freelancers also eventually moved towards being an entrepreneur. And that's the path that I went to. But other freelancers love being freelancers and love being self-employed. So living in the Philippines, the freelancer crowd definitely grew. You know, if you don't meet a lot of people and you're just in your home or something, and if you're not like, you know, someone like you who continually chase personal development, it takes a while for you to raise your standards. So the way I bumped into this business of matching high-level freelancers with entrepreneurs is I wanted to strike a balance between helping entrepreneurs be at their best self by outsourcing the things that do not fit their zone of genius that serve their business, and helping freelancers be their best self by serving an entrepreneur that aligns with their values and, you know, feeling productive, even if they belong to a business. And because not everyone can be an entrepreneur, you know, it's difficult. Emotionally, physically, financially. But a lot of freelancers shine in being freelancers and serving entrepreneurs. So that's the petri dish where it grew.
Yeah, and it kind of evolved from there. Yeah. So I guess, I've a bunch of questions I want to get to. I think one of the first ones, you know, kind of, I guess I'll tell my story of, you know, so I met you through Mitch, and he was really like, yeah, Karla's amazing. Her service is amazing. You know, I was a little bit biased, obviously, right? So, you know, significant other. But I trusted his judgment and everything. And so we talked about this in February, and I'm almost embarrassed that it took 8 or 10 months or something like that to finally be like, okay, this has to happen. I'd already sent you to clients and stuff like that. Now I think you literally half of my clients are have used your service and stuff, which is pretty crazy. So I guess for me, it's always like thinking from the inner game standpoint, a lot of times hiring that first employee. And I think there's definitely, I had some resistance there. I was super busy. And I also kind of feel like you're never ready. There's a responsibility aspect, but also from a profit standpoint too. And so I guess maybe if you could just talk to that a little bit of like, getting people that are maybe on the edge about this or on the fence.
Right. If you feel like you can do it on your own, then you will never be a company. You will never be a business. You're a hustler. That's what you are. And that's what you will always be if you don't, build a team. Because great companies are built by teams, not by someone who thinks he can do everything well. Because I do a lot of things well. Hell, I do a lot of things well. But you also have to have the humility to be able to tell yourself that there are other people who are better than you at other things. So that would definitely be number one. You have to be humble enough to let go of other things. And number two would be you have to be kind to yourself. You can't just do a lot of things. And if you're making an X amount of money, but you're so tired, you're so burnt out, you might sound busy with your social media updates. But deep inside, if you're not resting well and you're not eating well and you can't serve your own passions, then that's gonna turn into depression someday. And that's scary. And number three, I think everyone should develop leadership skills. And this is the best way for you to start. If you're a solopreneur and if you're not the eldest child, I will not be surprised that you don't have leadership skills, or you've never been the president of your club in school. You don't sit in the front if you go to a conference. So if you know you need help in that, getting a team or starting with a VA is a good way to practice your leadership skills. And then if you're still thinking that, if it's worth it or how much will it really help you, just think about the time. Like just that, don't overcomplicate. Just think about the time. You can even do an experiment. You can do an experiment for 3 days and list down what you do from 8 to 5, let's say. And like every hour or every 30 minutes, and then be really conscious and self-aware. And then see how much of those things you can pass on to a virtual assistant that will cost you 5 good dinners, like that at that price, or 2 pairs of really good jeans or something, really good pair of shoes, 1 pair of good shoes. Yeah, that's what it costs you. So, for you to buy that headspace and that time, it's almost like you're sabotaging your own growth if you don't. Like, you notice those times when you're like lying in your sleep and you're not doing anything else, or you're at a plane and you're not bombarded with notifications, or you're getting a massage and you think of a really good idea for your business, and you get these ideas and you get these bouts of genius when you're not doing things that drag you down, like replying to emails, replying to random inquiries in your inbox, thinking about sending flowers to your girlfriend, or spending an hour trying to find the best priced flight to Thailand and the best Airbnb that fits your standards. And a lot of people think that these things are expensive luxuries, but it's not. Because if you outsource to a place like the Philippines, where $500 to $1,500 a month for part-time to full-time work means a lot and can make a lot of difference to a family there, or to a freelancer. And if you manage them well, you can gain their loyalty. So there's almost no reason not to do it, because logically it's cheap. It's not high risk. And if you have a company like us that will help you, give you more security and give you simplify the selection, qualification, and interview stage, then it's almost like a disservice to not do it, because you're literally stopping your own growth.
Mm-hmm. What's been interesting, especially seeing this with clients now too, and noticing myself, is that, well, first, just like those little micro fragments of bandwidth where you don't think they don't even really maybe even add up, where you're like, okay, you just have that pang of thought of, I got to get that flight to go home for Christmas or something like that. Or, I got to just random little things like answering a quick email. Or for me, I was still doing some of the customer support, because it wasn't, I've automated so much of it. I've screened a lot of it out to where it wasn't really too much time. It was really like maybe an hour to 3 hours a week. But what happens is those little things, they pull you off of focus, right? And so I like I said, I can't even like enumerate the value that led to of opening up, like you said, the creativity. The other aspect of things too, like you said, is just so reasonably priced and everything as well, right?
Yeah.
I was saying kind of before this, so everyone listening in here, I'm like, man, this is going to turn into a sales pitch. I get nothing from this. I just, like I said, it's helped me so much and it's helped my clients so much that I'm like, man, I got to get you on. Because I'm like, it's funny, I always say as a coach, you kind of always like bias people a little bit, your clients and stuff. And so now I'm on this kick where I'm like, everyone needs VAs, but it's true. Like I really believe it, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, kind of like a random thing that I wanted, just as it popped up now, I still haven't let go of the flights and the hotel stuff. Because I'm like, I've, traveled for 15 years. And I know there's probably a system of my criteria of what I look for. When people are trying to, let go of that thing specifically, I guess, is there anything you could say, I guess, to help me out so I do let go of that?
So you got to come up with a criteria. So what I tell my VA is I want a flight to here, ideally not early. So I would say like noon or something. And I want a layover that's somewhere between 3 to 6 hours. I don't want it too short. I don't want it to be too long as well that I'll get bored or that I have to get a room. So, just give them a criteria and then tell them to give you the top 5, the best priced and best flights. So they should always also still give you options. And that's the position where you want to be because options are power. Options is power. And then so what you do is that you do your other stuff and then your VA does his or her work. And then after 30 minutes, you get the top 5, best of the best. And if you're a little bit more OC, you can even counter check it very quickly with Skyscanner if you want, or a similar service. But that's it. And then for the Airbnb or hotels, communicating your standards is very important. And that getting to know your VA is, if you have a personal VA, like what you have right now, it's basically like a personal assistant, but virtual. So they have to get to know you and you have to get to know them. They have to know your standards. They have to know what you don't like. They have to know what irks you the most, So I always tell my VAs, I would rather have you waste my money than waste my time to waste my time. If I ask you a question, answer the question right away. My standard on hotels is a good bed. I want a good bed. If it's possible for you to kind of see, at least from the photo, like that it's a good bed, I want that. I'm not very anal about the other stuff, but if you give them like a criteria, they'll work with it.
Nice. I like that options thing. That's totally changes things for me. Because that was the thing. I'm like, I don't want them to like pick it and then get it and then you get there. But if you still have a choice, yeah, that changes everything. Nice.
Yeah.
I guess one thing I wanted to point out that you mentioned is that before what I thought a VA would be like, especially somebody outside of America or if English isn't completely their first language or things like that, is I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to spell out every little single thing so that they don't make a mistake. And I got to kind of build the system and stuff like that. And I realized if you find the right person, like for me, she takes care of everything, right? So it's like, she's like, hey, I see what your SOPs look like and for like standard operating procedures and processes. And she had past experience doing that already. And so she's like, can I update these and make them better? I'm like, yes, please do. And it's also the type of thing where I'm like, hey, can you add this? And can you like, like an example would be like, hey, let's set up where twice a week you comment on all the different social media platforms or just like everyone and heart everything like that. She's like, okay, I'll add it to SOP. We're good to go. And that's it. Versus what I thought it would have to be is like, okay, I got to create a document and kind of set this up in Asana somehow. Like you can find the people, like you said, I think the word you said high level enough to where they can make these decisions on their own, right?
Yeah. I have to talk to them. I have to ask them questions. I have to see that they're a critical thinker. And I always tell them that your job is to make someone's life easier. Whatever that takes, as long as it's legal. Whatever that takes. And if you make your boss's, your client's life easier, then you did a great job that day and that, you can sleep at night. But I tell them I tell them sample instances. I tell them our goal is for our client to be at a dinner and just enjoy the dinner. Not have something at the back of his head, oh my God, I have to email that someone, I have to schedule that call, I have to book that flight. That is, if our client is going out with his girlfriend watching a movie, he should be enjoying her company, or if he's going to a dinner with his family, things like that. So for them to be fully present. So we definitely choose people who are high level enough, and some people want even a particular level of English proficiency if they're doing customer support. So right now we actually upgraded our systems, and we require everyone to send a video application.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that has also done amazing for our past few clients.
It's interesting. So like I said, with the one of the clients that you're working with, or one of my clients that you've helped out, he almost had an apprehension to systems.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was kind of saying before, what happens is I feel like I have this new sense of urgency to continually systematize things to give her more things. And she's like, okay, I did that. What else? And I'm like, oh, what else can we do? Like I said, like heart all the comments or something like that. And she's like, okay, I got that too. I still, I want more hours. Like, I'm like, oh shit, what else could she do? And I think, like I said, those things, it was only when I made the shift of going to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like I said, that's what holds so many people back, is they're like, oh, I don't have enough stuff
Right.
that I would do. And I'm like, the things actually come after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when it's only 400 or 500 a month kind of to start to kind of jump into something like this,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, even if you do it for a month or two and you realize, oh, this isn't for me, that's not a big investment or a big scary thing. Versus if you're in America and you try to hire someone and all of a sudden you have all these sort of, contractual things.
Yeah.
And you spend, I think the other thing too, and I'd love to have you talk to this, is I guess the other thing is on the one hand, you're like, okay, cool, it'd be great to delegate, but I don't have time to create the systems. I don't have the time to train them. So I guess just talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. We had a client last month who hired an operations manager and a writer. And then I know this guy, he's my friend. I know he has some mindset problems, and he could afford it, of course, but it was just that he's not the leadership kind of guy. And he was always so scared of delegating, and it took him forever to get his systems ready. So after you talk to us, there's like 8 to 10 days of us doing the search and the interviews. So I always tell my clients, while we do this during the 8 to 10 days, this is your time to set things up and do your systems. And then, of course, you can talk to your VA and then figure it out eventually. But it took him a very long time. It took him like 2 months, and he was so resistant to it. He had a lot of problems. So one thing that I noticed also was crucial is personality types. Other people's personality types are just not very leadership leaning, so they need a little bit more help. So what we did was that we set up someone to interview him, and we recorded the interview, and it was like a therapy session. It was like a therapy session. And then I helped out with continuously like translating things in the interview into actual tasks that the team could do for him. And there were a lot of things that he wasn't willing to let go because he believes he's the only best person to do it. But this operations manager that I got him, she's super smart, and I hate to waste her, really. I told him, you're my friend. I really got you the best girl. Trust me. It took him a long time. And then after 2 months, he sent an email to 3 of us saying, I can't do this anymore. I blame myself. I'm fucked up. So I was like, oh my God, it's another SOS. And so I helped them out again. So, there are people, that was an aberration, but there are people who are like that. Mm-hmm. And we are continuously like improving our process on how we can help someone to get out of that state. Because now he's actually okay. He had a session with his mindset coach as well, who also helped him, because I reached out to his coach. I'm like, can you help him? Because like he needs our help. And I told him that for some people like you, it's painful. And I really know. It's like being fat all your life and then trying to like do a HIIT workout. It's painful. But you need this, because if you need this so you can grow your business. If you let go of the people right now, sure, you'll go back to your comfortable space, but you can't scale. You need a team. You know that you're going to go through this. So just walk through the fire and just do it now instead of doing it later.
I think, that's the thing too, as you're saying that, is my belief is that everyone has a personal brand. Everyone has an online persona. And if you look at guys like Gary Vee or something like that, a lot of times it just leads to like complete, almost like futility and giving up. Like I could never compete at that level. And the thing is you're never going to be able if you're doing it on yourself. There's no way you're going to be able to get all the social media out and, you know, be omnipresent to your audience and things like that. And so I would say if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, how do I just can't push it. I can't do anymore. I think, like I said, the other thing is like, what would you say if you look at it when people like talk to you, when does ROI kind of hit? Have you noticed like within a couple of weeks? I mean, for me, like I said, within a week, I was like, it's not like I saw immediate sort of whatever with the one client, I remember all of a sudden he had all these old leads and stuff like that. He's like, oh yeah, just go through my leads of the last 5 years and just shoot him off an email. And he had like 20 new sales requests.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, okay, well that just paid for a year's worth of your VA already here, you know?
Yeah.
What have you seen kind of for the ROI on this?
Okay, so the best ROI would be all of the people I work with say that they're now able to serve their clients at a higher level, being able to finally think of a good upsell, being able to finally sell that upsell, being able to explore opportunities they couldn't before. Like, for example, for coaches like you, maybe if you have like a trained VA who can pitch you for talks real hard, then, you know, like there's gonna be an ROI there. And also, you can get people who are focused on bringing the revenue in. Like, we're hiring salespeople, we've hired customer support people who are also designed to do an upsell every now and then or something. For copywriters that we've hired, you know, they've definitely helped on that front as well. So the design of the hiring is also customized to your business. And I personally don't advise anyone thinking that they'll hire a VA to save their company or kind of like expect someone to bring you more money. Because me personally, like when I hire someone, it's my job to make that hire worth it. And my personal arithmetic is 3 times. If someone makes me 3 times of what I pay them, at least, then it's worth it. But it's my job to make that happen. It's my job to think about ways to make that happen. So at the end of the day, it boils down to standards. If you get the right people can communicate well. People who have high integrity and are hardworking, you know, they will not cheat on their hours because we do flexible time, right, for our VAs. So if you hire those kinds of people, it's very difficult to not grow your business. You know, financially, obviously, at the front.
I had one more thing I wanted to shoot by you. So you said that one person who kind of ended up being the aberration, looking for like an operations manager. I feel for me, most people think I got to hire a CEO for this, or I have to hire an operations person. It's going to be $100,000 a year or something. What would be some of those sort of tasks that if you get somebody at a really high level, you could get?
Right. So let's start with the simple tasks. The simple tasks that just, you know, weigh you down in terms of time. So most of the VAs that we place can do email management, like literally manage your emails to divide it like urgent, not urgent, cancel this subscription. This doesn't matter to my boss's business now, you know, stuff like that. Email management, data management. If you have some contracts, papers, important documents in your business that you need organized, so you can do that in an online, you know, like a Dropbox or something. So data management, they can do that too. Transcription, you know, if you need something transcribed. Social media management, as in you have a calendar of what you will post in your social media and they kind of like create the graphics for that and the captions based on either your last post, because this is what my VA does. She bases my posts, because I don't want to repeat myself, from my personal profile to my page. So she searches things that I commented on groups, things that I said 3 years ago or something like that, things that I post in my blog or my Medium account. And she creates the snippets of posts through that. So it's been like an amazing process as well. So social media management, email management, the research and booking stuff, appointment setting, scheduling, and reminders. So that's really important because sometimes you have it scheduled, but you forget. And then you're like, oh my God, I forgot that meeting. So those are the easy, more generic stuff. The higher level stuff that I really want to encourage everyone to seriously consider Number one, customer support. You want to take care of your customers. You want someone who is ready to help them out. You want every email to be replied to in 24 hours. You want them taken care of. So we recently placed someone who even does video walkthroughs if someone needs help, and someone who can just get on a call and be the customer support person. So it's really great. It has been great. So customer support. Number two, you can outsource the first tier of like lead generation, getting emails, pre-qualifying people who might be like great leads for you. You can have them put it into a spreadsheet so that you can either personally hit them up or have a connection with them. Or you can have like a social media messaging sequence if you want to hit people up cold. So, because I have one client who does that. She's a female mindset coach. And female life coaches or mindset coaches, they're warm. They're warm and they're friendly. So she has a warm and friendly quotations, warm and friendly sequence for when someone adds her on Facebook. She'd be like, hey, what's up? Like, add compliment here. I love your hair. Where did you get that? And blah, blah, blah. So she has a sequence and, she's fully booked until like December next year because the VA helped her. With that. She didn't have to do it. But of course, her clients don't know, right? So I found that really smart and great.
Yeah, especially because most people, it's like, oh, you get a friend request. Cool, yeah, I'll accept it. And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So like to initiate the relationship with all of the extra stuff.
Yeah.
Which you could never do on your own, right? That's awesome.
And make it a fill in the blanks thing. Like it's still customized. So the VA can do like the first 4 messages and then you can jump in and deepen the conversation. Or, try to meet with that person, in person or something like that. So yeah, that's really great. That's lead generation, like the first tier of lead generation. And then you can either have a set of salespeople who can come in to close, or you can close it yourself. The next one is project management and quality control. So if you can communicate your standards to someone that you trust also to get your standards and who can manage projects in your behalf, like basically just, where we are at right now and making the customer feel like it's taken care of. So it's partially customer support. And if you have another team that's doing the work, for example, if you own a creative agency, you make websites, things like that. You don't want your clients to be talking to your creative people. Hey, how's my website? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. You should have a person who's going to be the one standing, in front of the fence and saying and giving the client updates. And at the same time, checking the quality of the work. So that's another high level thing that I found to be a really, gave my clients a huge change in their business. Quality control is important, and you can't be doing QC all the time. I know you would love to because it's you, and you always think, no, they have to be up to my standards. I have to see everything. Like before, years ago, I had a writing agency, and I was like, I proofread everything, because I didn't outsource it at that time. So if you can trust enough people to also close sales for you, it would be good. You would just have to require, usually this is a little bit more tricky because they would have to work at your time zone and have the right accent to do it. So for that one, we hire people with previous call center experience with big companies like AT&T, 1-800-Flowers, Verizon. Yeah, because
for salespeople, can you do it like 100% commission based, or you probably still would do a salary for this sort of?
I advise a mix. It has to come with a salary and then a little of commission so that they're also motivated. But for one client, my advice was $2,000 for full time, $2,000 a month plus 10% commissions. So your job at that point would be to have high quality leads then, because you can't blame the sales guy. Yeah, and you'll be the one training the sales guy as well. So that's some of the expectations that you need to do. And last one, another high level thing that I found really was a good contribution to my clients' businesses is if you're building your personal brand, it's great to have someone continuously pitch you to PR publications, speaking engagements, and other partnership opportunities. Build a media kit and then train your VA, or you can also ask our help to train the VA to continuously pitch you into like podcasts or speaking engagements. So if you actually go to the TEDx website and pick a country, so you're in US, there actually are TEDx events where you can pitch yourself to be a speaker. So if you have a media kit ready or like a video reel of you speaking and you have someone continuously pitching you, you know, and growing your audience, then I realized it would be really great for someone who wants to build a personal brand.
Yeah. I think, this last part has been great. I mean, like, I realize I'm completely underutilizing my team, so I gotta add some new things here. Cool. I guess just the final thing would be, if people are interested, what would be the best way to reach out to you?
All right. So you can reach out to me. Just message me on Facebook. You can find me, Karla Stefan Singson. We're changing a lot of things for the business right now based on, we had a huge influx of clients thanks to you and some friends this quarter. So that also led us to improving a lot of our processes. And you can also visit our website, proximityplacements.ph, proximityplacements.ph. So yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah. And thanks for coming on. Like I said, I think there's some amazing ideas here. And I feel like no matter what, if you have a team at all, I'm like, there's so much you can keep going and down that rabbit hole of more and more things. So thanks for coming.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.